The school is always the central focus of any community, and so it was and is in Lead Hill, Arkansas. We have taken the time with a group of Lead Hill friends to share with you the unusual history and memories of the old Lead Hill School. The school actually precedes the town of Lead Hill. Joe Coker in 1849 donated a parcel of land for a school, a church, and a cemetery, and then hauled logs from near Omaha. In 1889 and 1890, a school was built near the Pruitt's old home and the Bill Magnus place near Highway 7 and south of the road to Cedar Grove Cemetery. In 1924, funds were solicited to build a new school, and $10,000 was raised in 3 days. Gifts ranged from $5 to $1,000. This school had 4 large classrooms to accommodate 40 students in each room and an auditorium that would seat 300. This was to replace the 1890 building that was too small and worn out. There were many small schools in the area, and the consolidation of 8 schools came into the Lead Hill district. On April the 3rd, 1942, this school would burn.
Later than anything, I was coming off the hill with my dad, and we'd been up to feed his goats that he had bought some goats, and we saw this huge fire down here, and it was our schoolhouse being burnt.
The steps can be seen today at the rodeo grounds in Lead Hill. There's also a slab behind the steps of many of the graduates of the old Lead Hill schools. The gym was almost finished when the building burned, and so the school moved into the gym, and this became known understandably as the gym school. Some of the classes met in area churches. This building, the gym school, was torn down in 1951. Because of the lake coming in, the school was moved to the present-day location in Lead Hill, Arkansas.
Well, I remember May Green was my teacher. And then you could go to school and visit. A sister or a sibling could go and visit. So I went with my sister Janelle, and I was so sweet and kind and quiet. So she told Janelle, bring me back the next day, and I was 5 years old and got to start there. And Helena Bailey was the 2nd grade teacher. Catherine Raley was another teacher, and I can't go from there, okay. But the one I remember most was Martha Jean Jarvis. And I finished there until that school burned. Then I went to the gymnasium school where all classes was in that one building, and I graduated from there.
I think at my dad's folks, and when we came back, I don't remember who we met up the road or something, but they said the school had burned. And I think I remember them telling, and I was saying I was so proud of it. I wouldn't have to go to school, I didn't think. Anyway, our class was always small because four in my graduating class. That was the year there was so much turmoil in the school, you know. Yellville, and some went to school Ozarks, and some stayed here, and it was kind of mixed up here that year. And that was the year I graduated, when they moved down here.
Well, the school had run out of money, and we didn't know if we was going to get our caps and gowns in time. I think they came the day before the graduation. But when we had the pictures printed by Intercollegiate Press, but the other material for the annual didn't come until after school was out. And I carried the materials from the post office in Lead Hill to my house, and then back to the EMBRY building where Imogene Farmer helped me run these on the old crank type machine. Bud Bailey brought me a typewriter from school that I typed the stencils on. And then we, after we got them ran, Ruth Ann Magnus, Margaret McLean and I laid them out on the rocks at the creek. It was on DeShields Creek, yeah, and we assembled them there. And then Ruth Magnus and Ruth Ann delivered anything that was within driving distance. When I started school, it was in the old building that burned. And it burned, I think, in April. And then I went to finished out in the Christian church. And then we went to school in the gymnasium until I graduated in '51. I remember the steam radiators that they had. The steam radiators that you could back up to and get warm. And I said, I know that's what's wrong with my knees today. Too much basketball on the concrete gym floor.
To make sure we understand the chronological order of the Lead Hill School, let's do a recap. The school actually preceded Lead Hill when Joe Coker gave land for a school, a church, and cemetery in 1849. He hauled logs from Omaha for the building. Then Lead Hill built a school in 1889 and 90, which became too small and worn out. So in 1924, $10,000 was raised in just 3 days for the building of a new school. Later on, a gym construction was started, but before it was finished, the 1924 building burned on April 3, 1942. Many students attended classes in the local churches. The EMBRY students were asked to help finish the gym school. In 1951, the school year ended a month early because of lack of financial funds. This was a time of turmoil for Lead Hill because of the Bull Shoals Lake project that would completely cover the town of Lead Hill, Arkansas. So the moving of the town caused many problems. The school divided, and many went to Yaleville, several to the School of the Ozarks. Only 4 were in the graduating class of 1952 in Lead Hill, and they did not have a graduation. In 1953, the school is together in a new location that we have today.
When I started in the first grade, about 1945, I rode some of the flat-top school buses down to where the Lead Hill boat dock is today. And they actually took rake teeth and straightened out and made up and down the windows on the outside to keep the windows from getting beat out from limbs. And with that said, I went to school in the picture that you have showing right now where it's set is where the picnic ground is, where the music and the dancing, and they built a little pavilion there. Now that's where I started the school, right there. And we continued there plumb on up till, I don't know, I was about the 7th grade when the lake went in, and that's when we went to school in the church houses. And they split us up and all over. Now, they moved the town, the government come in, and they bought the ground where the town is today. And that's where they wanted the post office and everything to be, and that's where it is. And with that said, we went to school, though, in the churches. They was one of the first buildings that was built. Now, I went to school at the one that they call the South Lead Hill. We went to school there up for, I don't know, 1 year, that as I remember it. And then we came back and they had the building over here built, and that's where we were when we were into the 8th grade. And I don't know, it's went from there plumb on up till we graduated in '57 here.
Okay, I graduated in '57 with the same year Jack and Embry and these other guys did, but you know, that's been a long time ago. I was in Marion County And Marion, we went to school at Possum Trot, part of the first year of my first grade, about half of the year. Possum Trot community down there. The old school building had been turned into a house. But I remember riding the bus to Lead Hill, and it came across down by where Roberts Resort is now, and they call that the Moon Hill down there. You know, there was a big hill on each side of the creek. So a lot of times we came to school, and if it snowed, we couldn't get home. You know, the bus couldn't get up there. And the old buses were wooden buses, I guess, that Mr. Campbell built. And the seats were in line, 2 in the middle looking out and 2 on the side looking in. So, and they wasn't always full.